What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite YouTuber, Austin Holloman, and this month is November 2024. I left the United States October 16th, 2022. So now I'm doing an update video on how I feel about leaving the United States after 2 years and living abroad, and living now here in Nairobi, Kenya, is a place out of 25 countries and 46 or so cities that I've been to. God said this is the best place for me to be. Now, the first question you may have is, do you regret leaving the United States? And I say absolutely not. There's nothing I miss about being in the United States. I don't ever think about going to the United States. Some people, Americans can't really sell me the United States ever again. I don't even know why they try. Some Americans have tried to persuade me by, do you miss apple pie? Or do you miss American women, which is absolutely no. Do you miss, sell it to me. Like, if you're going to convince, my job is to sell you guys that you should live outside the United States. But if you're going to tell me that I've made a mistake and that I should go back, even though I just got this unfurnished apartment that you see back here. And yes, they do have modern housing here in Africa, especially Nairobi. South Africa is not the only place in the world that has this type of brand new, like nobody's ever lived here. And you can see that it's modern, and you'll see a tour of my house very soon. And I'm also paying less than $800 a month for it. Less than $800 a month. And I'm staying in a very prime location in town as well. And if you would like to come to Nairobi, Kenya, and you want me to get you set up, get the first trip, move your family, move your entire life like I did to this city, click the link in the first pinned comment in the description, and we'll get you a plan set up today. Now, that is what I do for my work as well. We'll get to that in a minute. Why did I leave the United States? I left the United States because I was making excellent money. Okay, I was making around 120 grand a year as a barber, whether if you believe it or not. The IRS can tell you that. I was making around 120 grand a year. I'm sorry, not a month, a year as a barber. I had my own apartment that was furnished. I had my own car. I had family. I lived in Dallas, Texas, which was a very resourceful city. It was a great city, but it was one of the worst cities I've been to in my life for social life. What do I mean by that? In the United States, and I've said this 1,000 times, we have a isolationist culture where it's all about me. Even when it comes to the family unit, they want to separate the family so that way the son can buy a car when he turns 16. The mom will have to have her own car. Everybody needs their own apartment. It's all about one person, which is yourself in that life. It's all just it's almost narcissistic, like, right? Versus being in a place like Africa, and specific like Nairobi, women that I've met, it's not uncommon for them to still live with their parents. And which means that they, I guess, share bills. I don't know. But it makes it less stressful if there's 4 people living in the house and one person pays a quarter of the rent. I wouldn't do that. I would not live with another man. I can't live with anybody. I could barely live with, I can live with a woman, but I'm not, basically what I'm saying is I'm not doing that. But I'm just saying, with that being the norm, that affects how people, can you turn that down? That affects how people treat other people, because people are used to socializing and valuing other people and hanging out in groups to drink beer, going to the park together, going to the polo games. Versus when I was in Dallas, after I get through being a slave as a barber and I get through working and I want to find somebody to hang out with, nobody's available. Nobody's available. It was almost like, damn, I don't have any friends. Like, I know people that are my friends, but we don't ever get to hang out. If I just want to go, let's go to, I don't know, let's go to Bar Louie or somewhere and get a drink. I don't know. Oh, nobody's available. Nobody's available for me to do that. And then that even goes down to, and we're going to get into the women here in a minute. That even goes down to women, right? So if I want to go on a date and I was in Dallas, besides the flaking, besides she got to work, besides the very middle school, like I think when I was dating in middle school, girls when I was in middle school gave me less of a texting game. Like it was less of that bullshit. When I became an adult, it's almost like the women matured in reverse. And I went to other countries and it was a completely different thing. So the social life is what made me leave the United States. People like to say like, oh, well, you just did this and my life wasn't like that. I don't give a fuck about your life. Okay, this is my life. Okay, and this is my decision and it's irreversible. Don't ask me to go back to you. I hate when people do this. Don't ask me to go back to the United States and go try New York. I'm not trying shit. I probably will never see New York. Just being real with you. Why? Okay, so I knew something couldn't be right. I knew that, I know it's not normal for me to have a hard time getting dates and the women are all masculine and you ask a woman, hey, can you hand me that remote over there that's on the other side? I'm not your mama. You got your own two hands. Man, ain't nobody trying to hear all that dumb shit. So I'm like, let me go somewhere else and see if when the language changes, when the ethnicity, nationality, whatever you want to call it, the continent, whenever you just change everything, the culture, let me see. So I went to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and I learned Portuguese before I went as well. So I went to Rio, and literally before I even got there, I was, socializing with people, and just the conversations were different. When I got there, it was just the women seemed more interested. I was able to build a circle of friends there. Same thing, and I moved to Salvador at one point. I traveled around the world, and then I came here to Nairobi, and this was the best place for me, where I have men that are from Kenya, Kenyan men that are my friends. We can sit there and talk. Everybody doesn't seem like they're at each other's throats about something, or there's a racism problem, or the women are excited to be taken on a date, and they don't have like these super high date expectations. You guys, if you're a man in the United States, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know, you're delusional and you're lying to yourself. So there's no way you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to the dating in the United States. And some women like to say, the men are nothing. I don't care. I don't date men. So I don't even, that's not even my concern. Like I said, this is my life. Okay. This is why I make this decision. So after I had that first trip to Brazil and I was like, oh, wow, like, okay, I knew it was just the culture of people I was around. And culture is it's the social life. Some people confuse like, oh, I went to go see this tall mountain and I tried ugali and now I know the culture. No, you just looked at a rock and ate some food. But if you don't know that, hey, in Kenya, they always greet people with, hey, how are you? That's a cultural thing versus the United States is, hey, I need this. Can you come over here at this time? We don't necessarily greet people the same way that they do here. That's a cultural thing. Rocks and food is not culture. Quit saying that. So, second, here's the biggest benefit of living in another country. And I say when people move out of the United States, I say, why are you moving? What is your reason for wanting to improve your life? I didn't experience racism in the United States, but I'm not going to say it's not happening. Some people want to get away from racism, so they go to an all-black country like Jamaica or like somewhere in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa to be exact, because you're not going to get away if you go to the northern part. Dating options, cost of living, safety is very safe here in Nairobi. I don't have to worry about somebody getting an F on their report card, so they say I'm going to kill everybody at school today. Or I don't have to worry about if I step on somebody's shoe that I'm about to get knocked out or jumped or even shot, because that type of stuff happens in the United States. I don't have to, the senseless killings and violence that you deal with in the United States, you don't have to worry about when you come to a place like this. But you don't have to come here. You can pick whatever country you want in the world for whatever your needs are. So I would say besides the social life, the biggest benefit is cost of living. Okay, I can survive here in Nairobi in this same apartment for around $1,200 a month. And I say survive. I spend way more money than that every month because I'm living right now. I'm living my best life. I'm not surviving. But if it's $775 a month for rent, I might put $30 or $40 on the electricity per month, and that's actually more than enough. Water might be $10 max, maybe less than that per month. We're not even at $900 now. My internet is $40. You know, groceries. You know, I don't cook, but if I did, I'm really maybe $1,000 or $1,100 a month. I would be able to survive. Now that for $1,100 a month at this lifestyle living, this place, I wouldn't be going on any dates. Okay, if somebody invites me to the polo game, I don't have enough extra money to show up. So when I say you can survive, I literally mean that. Like, you're just getting by, like you're barely making it. But if you want to come to a place like this and you want to actually thrive and be doing what you want, $2,500 is around that range. But if you really don't want to have to like check how much money you're spending, $3,500 a month. And don't cry in the comments about it, because if you're making $3,500 a month and you live in Texas where the rent is no less than $1,500 in Dallas for a 1-bedroom in a safe area of town that's not infected with roaches, yeah, that's basically damn near 50% of your income just on rent. So you should be making it anyway. If you're not making that money, you're not ready for this lifestyle. You need to figure out, I don't know what you need to do, get a skill, start an online business like I have, and that's how you can do what I'm doing. I don't have the solution for that. I just have the solution for people that already want to do this and when they want some direction on where to go. And that's what my online business is helping people do that. Now, the biggest challenges that I've had living abroad, some people might say it's language. That can be a challenge, or it could be cultural adaptation. So if you guys know me, I've been on CNN Brazil. I've been on Fox News in Houston, and Global and Mundo Negro in Brazil, because I guess I had a cultural misunderstanding that these people have this sexual promiscuity in Brazil. And I thought it was okay to get on YouTube and like say like, hey, like this is the difference here and there. And apparently they say, yeah, we're like that, but don't say that out loud. So anyways, I ended up being all on, it was a witch hunt basically. So doing certain things around people that come from a completely different place. For example, I remember my mom was in Turkey with me in Antalya for a few days. I went to see her actually, and the waiter walked up and he didn't even look at her. He just spoke to the man, and she's like, well, do you not speak to us? And he kind of ignored her again. But it's a Muslim country. Like when were women having rights? So you may have that issue. My advice to you is please don't go to another country and don't go to another country and try to tell them it's wrong for them to address the man instead of the woman, because you're not changing shit. Like nothing's good. It's been that way for 1,000 years over there. It's not changing because one person said that. Or like here in Africa, like they do things when they want, right? So the guy was supposed to be here to fix my water pressure at 3. It's 3:33, and that's a moderate tardiness. Being an hour late is kind of expected. So if you order, like when I got my washing machine, it's no big deal for them to show up 2 hours late. That's no big deal. So those are things that you'll have to adapt to, is just how people do things. Even being a Black American here in Africa, the minute I can blend in, but the minute they hear me talk, some prices change. It's not that bad in Nairobi. If you go to Tanzania or Senegal, it's unbearably bad, but it still happens. For example, I was buying a TV stand. I paid $130 for this TV stand I have now, but there was a wood shop nearby where I stay, and it was almost the same TV stand, and they tried to tell me it was $740 for a wooden TV stand. All I could do was laugh at that shit, because I'm a foreigner and I may not know everything that's going on, but I'm not an idiot, dude. I'm not an idiot. $740, that's my rent is $775. So this TV costs just as much as my rent, and you're outside sweating. And if it starts raining, you're gonna have to stop working because there's no roof even on top, and you're poorly dressed. And the average person in Kenya is making around $300 a month. So if you sell one of these TV stands, you can pretty much take the month off at the living standards. I'm not believing it. And then I go a little further down the road and I find a TV stand that's nearly the same for over $500 less. You'll run into issues like that. That's why it's good to have somebody that has boots on the ground that can tell you, I've already made those mistakes. I didn't pay that, but I'm saying I know where to not pay that at now. And that's why it's important for you to do that. Because if you don't have somebody that's here that can show you around, you may not, $740, you should know that's bullshit, but you might not know. And you might pay an extra $200 on top and, fall for the okie doke. Maybe that may happen to you. If you want that to be sooner, find somebody that is there. Okay. So living abroad changed my perspective on the world like this. People are not the same everywhere. People have this thing where they say people or women are the same everywhere. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Let's break down why it's the stupidest thing. Culture makes people different. Now they say, oh, after race, they're the same. If you brought them to the United States, they'd be the same. They're not in the United States, fool. That's why I'm saying they're different. Okay? So if you were to, you're not going to convince me that meeting a woman in Saudi Arabia is exactly the same as meeting one in Texas, because it's not. They don't even dress the same. They couldn't even drive a few years ago. A woman was just murdered because her hood, I think this was Iran actually, but her hood for her hijab thing, whatever it was, fell off her head and she got murdered by the police. They don't even look at people the same. Women in the United States could damn near walk down the street naked. So you telling me that their mentality is the same as somebody in Saudi Arabia that couldn't even drive 9 years ago? Seriously? Like, let's use some common sense. So people in Africa don't have they're not urgent about time. Like that in the United States, if I say, hey, you need to be here to fix my plumbing at 3:00, they'll be there at 3:00. And if they're 10 minutes late, they're going to call and say, hey, we're running a little late. But here, that's not the case. So when they show up, they're like, oh, what's the big problem? You're telling me that my experience with them, somebody that doesn't even view time the same way as I do, is the same? I never thought people the same were worldwide, but it just further confirmed that people are not the same. If people were the same, the Christians and the Muslims wouldn't have had crusades. That those wars fought behind religion would have never happened. Obviously, there wouldn't be a war where it's at right now in the Middle East if those people were the same. Okay? I mean, this is common sense, but unfortunately, common sense is not as common as you think. So what surprised me the most about living abroad was how much better my mental health got. People are the most important thing in your life, if you ask me, because you can go to, let's say you go to a place like Uruguay. It's very modern there. I've been there. It's very modern. The people are white, basically, mestizo and white, like half white, half mestizo, something like that, and a few black people. It's cheaper in the United States, but it's not that cheap. It's the most expensive country in South America. It's almost as expensive as Texas, but not really. The food is great, the music is great. But if all the people were racist and I was getting tomatoes thrown at me in the street every day, what difference does it make? So me moving abroad, that I moved abroad for my social life, but I didn't realize how much it would change the peace of mind I have, the way how I have patience for people and people. I mean, I had control of my attitude before, but people can't really upset me anymore. Like if you upset me now, it's got to be your fault. It can't be mine, because I'm very passive about like, oh, it's nothing. He's just having a bad day, or she's just acting like that. I don't really get upset. So if you guys value peace of mind and you value serenity, I think you should try moving abroad where there's not mass shootings every week. Hundreds of mass shootings a year because people said something nasty to someone, so they don't even kill the person that said it to them. They go kill everybody else in Walmart. Is that good for your mental health? I don't think so. Is women not even being accessible to you in the United States good for your mental health? I don't think so. It wasn't for me. That's why I feel so much better now. And I don't even fool with them over here. So the best country, and I'm gonna give you my top two that I've lived in around the world. Number one is where I'm at, Kenya, right now, and actions speak louder than words. I got a unfurnished apartment here. I moved in here about 10 days ago. I got pretty much everything except for my second bedroom furnished. I like to do things instantly. So the fact that I did that and I didn't get a furnished apartment and just, because the reason I get furnished apartments is because it's like, okay, you know, maybe I like this place, maybe, or maybe I might just bounce one day. This is my 6th time being here in Nairobi since last year. And I knew for a fact when I got back this time, I wasn't trying to leave. And why? Because it's cheap. The weather is never too hot, never too cold. Only complaint I have is it's not ever warm enough to get into a pool, and I like to go to the pool. But I love beach cities, and this city does not have a beach. It's landlocked, and I was willing to sacrifice that because I love being here so much. The infrastructure has the best infrastructure that I've had since I've been in Africa. I haven't been to South Africa, but out of the 7 countries I've been to, this had the best infrastructure. There's not really anything that I don't have here that I need, right? The women love me here. Whatever beauty standard it is, I fit it. So I'm never feeling like something's wrong with me or something. That plays a huge role in your mental health. I don't care what anybody says. As a man, if women aren't attracted to you, you're not going to convince me that you're just normal. Like, it's not normal for women to not be attracted to you and you just feel okay about it. That's bullshit. So number 2, if it wasn't for Nairobi, Kenya, I would most likely be in Brazil. Brazil was the first country I went to that made me pack my stuff and sell my stuff and leave the United States and start a journey around the world to find a place that was right for me. The only reason it's number 2 is because they have a little bit of white, not a little bit, actually a lot, of white worship. And guess what? I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to. Now, it's not a problem where it's just like unbearable to live there. But if I have the option to pick the perfect lifestyle for me, I'm going to pick the one that's perfect for me and not the one that's half-ass perfect. So if I don't have to deal with white worship and I can get away with it, I'm getting the hell away from it. Here in Nairobi, there's some people that, I mean, white worship is everywhere, but it's here, but it's not getting in my way. See, shit's not a problem until it gets in my way. When I was in Dallas, I didn't care about the crime until I was affected or somebody I know, it affected me. So I don't have to worry about that. Okay. Plus I like being around black people anyway. There's black people, plenty of black people in Brazil, but it doesn't matter if they're white worshiping. How do I support myself along this journey? So first I was a barber and I went to Brazil and I got online and I talked about my journey and my social media blew up. And my first YouTube check was like $9,980. The first check I ever got. Because I capitalized on the momentum. Hey, you guys see I have over 2,000 videos because I am serious. I've been slowing down now, but I was posting every day. I waited till I could I got that first month and then I did it a few other times to see if that was just a luck or it was just, you know, can I actually maintain this? And that's why I posted every day and I kept my name relevant. And it worked after 3 months. So that was June when I first got on YouTube. I think I got my first check in August, September, October. By October, I bought a one-way ticket to Thailand and then a one-way ticket from there to Brazil. And I never went back. I mean, I went back in April of this year, April 2024, for 3 weeks to get a birth certificate and visit my family for a bit. But it's sad to say, after going back and experiencing what I experienced in Dallas, shit hadn't changed. It probably even got worse. I won't be going back. No reason. But after I became a YouTuber, I was surviving off my YouTube checks and doing Patreon and all that other kind of stuff. God told me I needed to come back to Nairobi because I had an idea that I was given to by a good friend of mine for this business I run now. He was like, hey, why don't you help people come to Nairobi? You seem to know a lot. Your audience trusts you a lot and you seem to be the happiest there. So I went back and instantly it took off. And now that is how I support myself. I've been making way more than I have ever made off of YouTube doing this. So that's how I financially support myself. I told you guys need an online business, or you can even come here to visit. If you have the money to invest, but you don't have remote income where you could stay abroad, you can still come here to a place like Nairobi, buy an apartment, furnish it, and even use my services. And the people that call me that want to come to Nairobi, I could help you rent out your place. That is, you can use me as a resource. That's why I told you to click the link in the first pinned comment or description, and we'll get on the call. You'll speak to my assistant first, but we'll get on the call and we'll get you set up, whether if you have something you want me to help you with or you're looking for something. Now, if you guys are looking to move abroad, what is the best piece of advice I could give you? Like I said before, find a way to have remote income. Do your research on a place that fits your needs. If you're a white guy and you don't want to be around black people or Asian people, look into places that are in Eastern Europe, probably not Western Europe, but maybe Eastern Europe, or even a place like Uruguay that is mostly white, or Argentina, or Chile that is in Latin America that has high populations of white people. If you're somebody like me, I can be around anybody, but I choose to be around black people, then just you do your research on places that fit your needs. Figure out what your needs are. Figure out why you want to leave the United States. Figure out if the time zone is an issue for you. For example, I'm 8 hours ahead of Central Time being here in Nairobi. Therefore, if I want to talk to my parents, I have to really wait until 1 or 2 p.m., which is 5 or 6 a.m. over there. And that doesn't guarantee that they're always awake. If that is the issue for you, do your research and figure out if this is actually the right place for you to come to. Speak to somebody that lives in the place that wants you to come there, that you want to go to, I'm sorry. So if you want to go to Argentina, figure out somebody that's been to Argentina, that knows a little bit about the culture or that has experience there, and get the information that you need. Invest in consultations before you go somewhere. You're visiting or moving to a whole nother country. The things that I tell people that want to come to Nairobi or that wanted to come to Brazil, you would spend way more money during trial and error trying to figure it out yourself than paying somebody that's been there that knows what they're talking about. For example, when it comes to places to stay, the gym I go to is way on the other side of town. But when I came here, I stayed on the other side of town. So by the time I Ubered and sat countless hours in traffic, at least 2 hours a day coming back from that gym, I had balanced out how much money I was going to spend paying a little more in rent by going closer to that gym that I'd like to be on that side of town and spend more time on that side of town in general and go to that gym. So you don't know those things by getting on Airbnb. You don't know shit before you get there. Like some people think they know Nairobi just because they watched a couple videos. And I say, hey, so where are you going to stay at? Oh, I'm going to stay over here by the airport. Okay, good luck with that. I know based off what you told me, I know what type of tourist you are. You're going to be Ubering 40 minutes, 50 minutes from the airport to get to this side of town that I know you're going to want to spend time at. But you're not going to know that until you come here and do trial and error, or you can have the cheat code and have someone guide you, set up the safari tour, set up a personal driver, find a place to stay for you, whatever you need. That's what I'm here for. So it's not just me. My expertise, I would say, is in Nairobi. I have a few other cities around the world that I've been to. I've been to 25 countries, around the world that I've been to. You can go to my playlist and see, and I can help you. I've lived in Paraguay. I've lived in Nairobi. I've spent a good amount of time in Tanzania. I spent a good amount of time in Brazil, 6 cities actually in Brazil. I spent a decent amount of time in Colombia, but please don't call me about Colombia. I've spent time in Peru. I've been many places, okay? So or even Turkey, even though I hated it. Find somebody that can give you the cheat code is my best advice. And make sure this is really what you want to do and you have a real solid reason for wanting to do it. Now, some people might say, do you miss your family? Do you miss apple pie? Which is kind of silly to ask me. Do you miss anything about the States? And my answer is no. I do miss my family. The miss is not as intense because we have video chat. I can be there with my family, just not in the flesh, which in the flesh is different. But if it was 1900 and I had to write letters to talk to my family, then yeah, I probably would be a little more like, okay, I need to go back every 6 months just to see them. But because I can talk to them daily at an instant, it's not as, I can go longer periods of time without seeing them. That doesn't mean I don't love them or anything, but I can tell you this, I won't be back for a while. Anyway, maybe for a graduation or for a funeral or something like that. God forbid there's a funeral any day soon, but I'm just saying. How do I stay connected? The same way I stay connected with anybody else, using my phone. I don't feel the need to go back. I don't think you could pay me to live in the United States. Even if you gave me $1 million, I wouldn't go back. Why? Because where I'm at right now, my money multiplies by around 5 anyway, correct? So if I'm making $100,000 a year, I'm technically living a $500,000 a year income lifestyle. So essentially I can take your $1 million and live like shit and probably get shot in a mass shooting at the Walmart in 1 year. Or I can go stay where I'm at, and in 2 years, I probably didn't make that million, but I'm living the equivalent. And not to mention, when you're outside the United States, if you're profiting under 120 grand, it's pretty much tax free. Okay, there's so many benefits financially to living outside the United States that why would I go back? I can lower, so I have 3 Kenyans that work for me that help me with my online business right now. Their salary is a lot more doable. The more money I make, it allows me to grow my business faster because I'm making money with less overhead. And I'm not cheating anybody because based off of the currency exchange, it's good income that they make. Okay, so I'm able to provide people with more opportunities in other countries. I'm able to grow my own personal finances. I'm able to have my mental health back. I'm able to have the dating life that I want. I'm able to have the food that I want. I can pick the weather that I want. Sell me, go back to the United States. What if World War III happens? I don't think Kenya would be neutral just because it's in Africa and World War I and World War II was fought here in Africa. Africa was part of that, but places like Uruguay and Paraguay, even a place like Chile that seem to be pretty neutral on a world scale, they don't have issues really outside of South America. I would just go back there. And because even though I don't like those places as much as I love here, I would rather live there, somewhere I actually enjoy. So don't ask me if I'm going back to the United States. I will never move back for no reason. Now, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Leave a comment on what you thought. If you want to come to Nairobi, I'm your guy. Click the link in the comment or the first pin comment or the description and get a plan set up. We're around high season right now in December, so next month there will be events, probably 2 events a day. It's supposed to be very, very, it's going to be a vibe in December, and it's going to be the hottest December in January. When you get here, we hang out together. My clients that come into town, I show them personally places I go to. Because I have clients that like to come to Nairobi and they want to do it themselves. And they're like, oh, like all these women here are like this, or these people act like this, or they're scamming. And I'm like, oh, well, where are you shopping at? Where are you going to when you're experiencing this? Oh, I would have never told you to go there. I would have never told you to hang out that one place on the rooftop where 100%, about 99% of the women there are prostitutes, and they're up there looking for Indians and white boys. I would have those are clearly foreigners, and of course the prostitutes are gonna flock that area. That's why I would have never told you to go there. So if you guys want to love Nairobi the way I do, and you want to have that right experience, you can only get it. You can only do it with me. You can't do it without me. So let me know what you guys thought. I'll see you guys next time. Remember, first pin comment in the description. We'll get you a plan set up to come to Nairobi. Leave a comment below what country you would rather live in outside the United States.